Well, welcome back, everyone. We have Marie Walton here, our Johnny Appleseed naturalist, and I know all the buzz is all about Groundhog Day. So what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, with Groundhog Day tomorrow, I thought it would be good to talk about groundhogs. Now, they are in the family of Sciuridae, just like chipmunks and tree squirrels that you might see in your yard. And they are basically really stocky, really heavy squirrels. And they can actually climb trees, just like tree squirrels that you would see in your yard. It's really crazy to see. They're also really strong swimmers, so they'll surprise you.
I didn't know that.
They spend most of their time foraging for plants. They eat a lot of plants, but they'll also eat bugs and eggs as well above the ground. But we call them groundhogs. We don't call them air hogs, even though they can climb, or water hogs, even though they can swim. We call them groundhogs because we always see them on the ground. And they build these really elaborate burrows. And if you've ever seen the entrance to a groundhog burrow, it just looks like a big old hole in the ground. But if you were to shrink down to groundhog size and go into a groundhog's burrow, the first thing that you would notice is that it has a steep plunge down. And the reason for this is when they're up foraging above the ground, they're always listening. They have really keen ears. Even though their ears look tiny, they're really keen and sharp. And they're always listening for sounds of their natural predators like foxes or coyotes, sometimes domestic dogs as well. And if they hear a noise that startles them, they will run super fast to that entrance of their tunnel. And if they can get there, that plunge leverages their weight and makes them go super fast. It gives them a speed boost as soon as they get to their tunnels. So they go straight down. And then the second thing you would notice about a groundhog's tunnel is that it's angled upwards after that initial plunge, and that is to keep their chambers from flooding. So a groundhog's burrow is made up of a series of tunnels and chambers, and the chambers function as rooms and the tunnels function as hallways. So they actually make their burrows very cozy. They're able to stock those chambers with leaves. All of the chambers have different functions, just like rooms in a house. So they have ones for sleeping, like a bedroom. They have chambers for raising their young, like a nursery. They've got chambers for stocking food, like a kitchen. And they even have one chamber for depositing all of their waste, like a bathroom. So they're really clean, really organized, and really smart animals. And these burrows are actually really great to have in your neighborhoods because the groundhog is a big animal, so it has to move a large quantity of dirt to make these homes for itself. And a groundhog does this by actually taking dirt into its mouth and depositing it outside somewhere of the tunnel. And they move by mouth about 200 to 700 pounds of soil. And this is actually really good for the soil because it aerates it. So if soil is too compacted, it can be hard for plants to get their roots in and hard for the plants to grow. But by moving the soil, they aerate it so it's looser. Plants' roots can spread out, and it helps them take up nutrients. It makes the plants around it stronger. It's also good for irrigation. So if the soil is too compacted, water can puddle at the top, but by aerating the soil, water can trickle down. So it's good for the microfauna of the soil, the microbes in the soil. These dens are also incredibly structurally sound, and they'll last for generations after the groundhog is gone. So the groundhog in the wild lives about 6 years, and these groundhog burrows last for many years after that. And other animals in the community are able to use these. So things like rabbits and skunks, even reptiles and amphibians are able to use the groundhog's burrow for years to come for hibernating and brumating in the wintertime. So it's good for local animals, local plants, and even the microbes of the soil. They're really great animals to have around. Now, Groundhog's Day is a great holiday because it's a day where we get to think about our favorite hibernating marmot here in Ohio. And the legend has it that on every February 2nd, if a groundhog sees its shadow, then we will have 6 more weeks of winter. And if it doesn't see its shadow, then spring will come early. And the most famous groundhog is Punxsutawney Phil. So we'll see tomorrow if he sees his shadow or not. Something fun about Punxsutawney Phil is he has about a 40% accuracy rate in
40%?
Predicting the weather. Yeah.
That's not very good.
So if you bet against him, you would be right 60% of the time.
All right, I think I'm going to aim for just Connor Prince's predictions.
Yes, me too. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
we'll have
Marie,
to see tomorrow what he says.
Exactly. Everything we needed to know and more about the groundhog. I didn't know any of this stuff, really. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Well, don't go away because we have more when we return.